Happy Wednesday, Floss Tube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? Let me move you a little bit. There. Now you can admire my stitching that's on the wall behind me. What's funny about it is not a single piece that's up there was actually stitched by me. Oh, my name's Caroline. Welcome back. Welcome back. How is everybody doing today? Yeah, so I usually remember to put a little blurb in the description box about what's actually behind me on the wall, and hopefully you can see them. This was a thrift store find. My friend Dawn found it at a thrift shop in Sarnia, Ontario. This up there is an Erika Michaels piece that says that I can stitch and be happy while I am stitching is a great blessing. And then this one down here in the corner is a Jasmine piece, and I think it was, I had a viewer leave me the comment of what it is. I think it's called Jasmine. And my friends Kathy and Neil, who used to own my local needlework shop here in London, Ontario, Canada, they stitched both of those. Those were shop models, and they gifted them to me. Over the years, we've been friends for a really long time. Those of you who remember Kathy and Neil from Thread and I in London, Ontario, I see them often, at least weekly, and they're doing really well. So, in case you were wondering, they're doing very well. My new needlework shop, and I actually don't get out there very often, is Stitch It Central here in London, Ontario. So, I have a few stitching things to share with you today, a few knitting things to share with you. It is my coffee break here. I ran out of milk. I have a small bar fridge that I keep here at the workshop, and I'm not always great about remembering when I'm out of something. So, like, you know, things that aren't to do with work. So, came in this morning and I thought, right, I forgot to bring milk. So when I am out of milk, I just drink my coffee black with a little teeny little bit of sweetener. And for some reason, when it's black, I like it to be in a glass tumbler. I don't know why. Funny quirks. I also have something to share, a little sneak peek. It's not a sneak peek. It's a little pre-advance of Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery telling you about something. I get to tell you about something first because he hasn't done his video yet, and he said that I could share it with you first. So I'll do that at the end of the video. My stitching. Over the last couple of days, I am loving working on Miss Margaret Ann Rollo. I've been trying really hard to work on a couple of Christmas pieces this month for Christmas in July. And Miss Margaret Ann Rollo, 1869 by Kraemer. This is a reproduction sampler that she did. Just Stitching Along, that's the name of her design business. And she charted this reproduction sampler last holiday season. And she also added an extra Merry Christmas border at the bottom that you can add in if you wish. And I was thinking I would, but now I am undecided. And because, strangely enough for me, I started at the top of the sampler instead of my normal place that I love to start is bottom left when I start a cross stitch piece. And so starting at the top this time has allowed me a bit of chance to think about if I really want to add that in. There are also two Christmas ornament designs where Krista took elements from the sampler and charted them for really sweet little Christmas ornaments. So they're beautiful. So here's my progress. I just shared this the other day, but I have done a little bit more. There. Ta-da! Fair bit, right? So I was speaking, so I didn't do a video yesterday, so it was 2 days ago. I hadn't done my numbers because I didn't have the DMC thread that it called for, and I was trying to figure out what to replace it with, and actually it was Rose Heck. And again, I know, see, not everybody watches every day. not everybody has enough time to watch a daily floss tube video. So I had shown this a couple of days ago. This was a project bag that Rose made for me. Her name is Rose Hack. You can also find Rose. She occasionally does a podcast with Janice of Traditional Stitches. And she has been the leader of the year-long Ann Morrison Traditional Stitches Sampler, 20th Anniversary Celebration Sampler Stitch-Along. And let me tell you, Rose has been a wonderful leader of that Stitch-Along group. You can find the group on Facebook if you're interested, if you've been stitching the Ann Morrison piece. Join in. But anyways, last year Rose made me this bag, and somebody else pointed out that it looked like Luna on here, and it does. And when Rose sent this to me, she said that she also saw two of my previous dogs, Eddie and Daria. She saw their faces in here as well, and so that's why she chose this fabric, and I just love it. I just love it. So this holds my Ann Morrison whip, and Rose had said, oh, well, why don't you try an ecru with your numbers? You know, anything would really work there. I have a lot of floss. I have a lot of floss. I'm really lucky. I'm really, really lucky with my job. We wind a lot of floss here at Evertote headquarters, and so there's usually, you know, ends of hanks lying around for samples. And so the more I stitch with it, the more I can see how the colors work and things like that. So there's lots of floss to choose from. So ecru, I thought, right, well, I have some ecru in the sample bin, and so I went and to find it, and right beside the ecru was caramel. And I thought, oh, caramel. So that's, you can see, it looks an awful lot like how Miss Margaret Ann's numbers. See how her numbers kind of blended into the fabric? Well, I chose a different fabric to stitch mine on. It is I always mess this up. It's either 28 or 32 count, but it's definitely a silk weaver fabric in the taupe colorway. So my fabric is a fair bit different than what Krista charted this for. So the DMC I wasn't sure was going to work, but look, the caramel. So it's a Leo&Roxy floss called, and the name of it is Caramel. And so it works. It's just right. It's exactly how I had hoped that it would look. And again, I'm still stitching it in the crown. So there it is in the crown. It's pretty, right? I've made a few other floss substitutions in here. I'll wait until I'm done the sampler to share what they are. Most of them are fairly, I tried to go by the photo and choose flosses that were fairly similar in scope to what the design was stitched with. So yeah, it's so fun. I talked a little bit about how I am trying the sewing in hand method, the sewing method, and I think I spoke too soon about the fact that it wasn't bothering my thumb, because I got a little over eager the other night, and I sort of did most of the numbers all in one evening. I did find by the end of my stitching session that my hand was a little, I think I just need to, like many crafters, like many of you I'm sure, I don't stop often enough because I get super hyper focused on what I'm doing, and I don't take a break, I don't stop and stretch or anything. And I think that was the problem, that I had my hand in that one position for so long that when I removed my hand from the fabric, I thought, oh, I can feel that in my thumb. So sewing in hand is never going to replace using my frames for me, but being able to just pop in 5 or 6 stitches at a time without having to get all set up has been, I mean, that's really why I've actually managed to make some substantial progress on this. And it's been fun. So the experiment continues. Really been enjoying it. I had Michelle, my friend Michelle, stopped by, and I showed you all the goodies that she had given to me. And I had asked what this was. And so many of you wrote and told me what it was. And it's genius. It's genius what this is. So this has such a pretty little dragonfly fob button at the bottom of it. There it is. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. Look at that. So it's a needle. And it's a frogger. You can use it to unpick your stitches. Genius. So genius, right? Because it gives you something to hang on to as you're picking out your stitches. I just think that that is, I never would have twigged that that's what this is. But thank you for filling me in. And Michelle, thank you for the very useful and pretty gift. I love it. So yeah, so that's pretty cool, isn't it? I thought so. The other thing I thought, I had a thought, hang on, I'm dropping stuff here. Oh my goodness. Okay, I had mentioned, speaking of project bags, I shared my other gifty project bag that Deborah had sent me, that she stitched the mushrooms on. Oh, look at that, it's so pretty. And Deborah hand dyed this fabric herself too, and then stitched the mushrooms on there. I think she said it was a 16 count Ada, or maybe, no, that looks like an 18 count. It's so pretty, I love it. I keep my Joan Sands, the Modern Folk Embroidery Joan Sands whip is in here. But the last time I showed you my bag, I didn't have the whip in the bag. And then I couldn't remember if I'd ever shared more than my sort of initial start on this piece. This is a stitch along that I'm doing with a few other ladies who I've met through FlossTube and Instagram. You can follow the hashtag. It is Joan Sands. Oh boy, I can't remember what the hashtag is. I think it's Joan Sands Mania Sal. I can't remember, but it was Gwyneth from Instagram, Curling Stones and X Stitches, who came up with the idea to start the stitch along together. And as I always am for stitch alongs, woefully behind, because with me it's always a start along. I have good intentions when I start, but I know full well that I will never be able to keep up, and I'm okay with that. For me, it's just fun to know that you're stitching something at some point along with other people. So here's where I have the bottom border, the width of the bottom border is complete. So that is my illustrious progress on Joan Sands of Modern Folk Embroidery, by Modern Folk Embroidery, reproduction by Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery, Joan Sands, and is the Hogmanay sampler. And it is so pretty. I am following Ellen Reed's lead, Ellen of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, who decided to convert this into Leo&Roxy threads, and I'm doing the same. And so, you know, I can list the colors in the drop down box below if you're interested, but because I'm sort of working this as I go, all right, I'm here, right? I might as well tell you. So I was just talking about caramel. So I'm using caramel in the border, that outside border there, that's caramel. The green vine is sage. And the pink in the flowers, the darker pink is, oh boy, Merlot. The darker pink is Merlot and the lighter pink is Flamingo. And in fact, yeah, that is Merlot. Merlot and Flamingo in there. So it's quite beautiful. My fabric is a 40 count linen from XJU Designs in the Little Bunny colorway. So pretty. So I thought that I might alternate my stitching in hand project between these two, between my Miss Margaret Ann and my Joan Sands, because it's a small enough piece of fabric that I feel it's not going to be unwieldy to hold in my hand. And it's also a good test of stitching the sewing method for 40 count because, well, there's a lot of negative space, and yeah, I think that'll be good. So there you go, Joan Sands. So those are my two cross stitch projects that I've sort of had on the go currently. I have a couple of knitting projects to finally share with you that I've been yakking about recently. The first one is my Caroline shawl. This just being able to, when I'm tired at night, it has a lot of garter stitch in it. And when I'm tired at night, there's nothing better than being able to knit a row of garter stitch and feel like at least you accomplished something before you closed your eyes and went to bed that night. So I love garter stitch for that reason. So here's my Caroline shawl. Since the last time I shared it with you, I have knit 4 or 5 rows. That's it. But it's back in rotation and I'm really loving it. Love the color. I love Josh's pattern. So this was designed by my friend Josh Moll. You can find a link to her pattern in my drop down box below. I'm sort of going a little rogue with my own version of it. It is named after me, after all. I feel like I can take a few liberties. Josh is kind of nice that way. So I am not. It calls for these sections as you go up the shawl. They get bigger. So the lace section gets a little wider. The garter section gets a little wider as you grow up the shawl, and then by the time you get to the shoulders, it's at its widest. And I'm keeping my rows the same width instead of making them grow bigger. And that's all. I think you can see the stitch pattern okay. Let me bring it up nice and close so you can see there. Look at that. Oh, it's so pretty. Look at that lace. Isn't that beautiful? That is just so pretty, Josh. I love it. So the yarn that I'm using is a Madeline Tosh Twist Light in the Jade colorway. So that's my yarn. Love it. And I'm using, I always go down quite a bit in needle sizes. This I think is a 2.5. Is it? 2.2, no, I'm fibbing. It's a 2.75 millimeter, which is, oh dear, how do I convert it? I think it's on the needle, hang on. It's a US 2. So US 2 is a 2.75 millimeter. And I like the texture that gives for fingering weight yarn shawl. I don't like things to be super, super loose, and I'm quite a loose knitter, so I usually have to go down a fair bit in my needle size. The other thing I've been knitting is a shawl by a designer named Isabel Kraemer, and the shawl is called the Uclid Shawl. And I tell you, this is so fun to knit. Look at this. Look at that texture. Look at the squishy texture in there. It's absolutely gorgeous. Just gorgeous. And so the first part of the shawl is knit with this pattern, and then it changes into more of a stockinette design-ish. But it's huge and it's squishy and it's beautiful. So it's the Euclid Shawl by Isabel Kraemer, and I will try to, well, I'm not sure I can post a photo because it's not my pattern. And I don't have permission, but I'll put a link in the drop down box below so that you can check out a photo of the entire shawl. Oh, I love it. I'm using some Quince & Co yarn that I bought from a yarn shop in Portland, Maine, called, oh my goodness, Portland, Maine. It's Knitwit, isn't it? It's one of my favorite yarn shops, and off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure it's called Knitwit. This is a Quince & Co yarn called Phoebe. It's been so long since I've been there. So, Quince & Co, and it is called Phoebe. And this is, no, sorry, Phoebe is the base. The colorway is called Pluto. That's this color. So, lovely and squishy and soft and really, really, really fun to knit. I'm really enjoying that a lot. And that's all my knitting. So that's kind of what I've been that's what I've been keeping busy with personal crafting. Okay, so I have one more thing to share with you today. I got a message from Jacob yesterday morning, and he had included a photo of a design that he just finished. And he said, oh, I charted this for Leo&Roxy chalkboard and weathered white. What do you think? Do you like it? Can you imagine me ever saying that I didn't like a Jacob Modern Folk embroidery pattern? Neither can I. So here, let me show you. This is the floss. So this is chalkboard and weathered white together. Now weathered white has a hint of gray, so it's not a yellow white. It's a very, 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 very pale gray white. And then chalkboard, just like we named it for, this one has hits of gray, and it just like, you know, a chalkboard would look like if, you know, it had smudges that weren't wiped properly. You know, it's a lovely, lovely black. There you can see a little bit of the variegation in there. It's so pretty. So this was the floss that Jacob had in mind, and he charted this design. So I'm not going to make you wait. I'm actually going to post a photo. I'll pop in Jacob's design right here so you can see what it looks like. Isn't it? It's so great, isn't it? I love it. So Ruskin's Penguins. And now I did ask Jacob's permission before I've recorded this, so that I asked him if I could read what he has written in the front of the pattern to give you a little bit of the story behind why he designed this. And I just love this. Now I'm going to have to take my glasses off to read this because I've got it on my phone and it's tiny, and that's how I see things that are small. So Jacob wrote the following: in Rotterdam on the 13th of July 2021. Someone recently contacted me if I had any patterns with penguins on them. This inspired me to create the design before you. I chose a quote by the 19th century artist, philosopher, critic, and writer John Ruskin, 1819 to 1900. In a letter dated the 4th of November 1860 to his friend Charles Eliot Norton, he wrote the following: when I began to think at all, I get into states of disgust and fury at the way the mob is going on, meaning by mob chiefly dukes, crown princes, and such persons, that I choke and have to go to the British Museum and look at penguins till I get cool. I find penguins at present the only comfort in life. One feels everything in the world so sympathetically ridiculous, one can't be angry when one looks at a penguin. In a time when we receive more news than many of us can bear, we all can use some penguins in our life. I love that. Jacob, I love that. I love this so much. I love the chart. I love the meaning behind the chart. It's perfect. I love it. So I have to stitch it. I have to stitch it. And if you would like to stitch it too, I have some in the shop. So this is, again, because Jacob just told me about it yesterday, this is a pre-order. Jacob is definitely going to have the PDF in his shop, www.modernfolkembroidery.com. I think he has it listed. If not, I'll find out when he's going to have it listed. I know Jacob is planning on doing a video soon, so he might have already listed this or posted a video by the time I get my video up. I'm not quite sure. So what I've done is I've listed it in the shop two ways, and that's www.evertote.com. I've listed it as just the floss pack. So if you would like to stitch this using the PDF, I have enough floss in stock that I can ship some now. So I have some sets of the 5. So it's 3 skeins of the chalkboard and 2 skeins of weathered white. So I have some in stock now. I can ship that out. If you would like to order a physical copy of the chart in booklet form, that's a pre-order. I ordered them yesterday morning right away after I discussed this. This is a reason why I didn't put up a video yesterday, because I had a lot of extra things kind of going on behind all of my regular work that I do here at the workshop, that my coffee was drunk on the run yesterday. So anyways, I ordered the charts yesterday morning. Now, lately, when I've offered Jacob's charts, they sell out really, really quickly. And then, so what happened with the red berries chart was that I sold out of the stock that I had already brought in, and it sold in about 5 hours. So I ordered more, and I listed it as a pre-order, and everything that I had ordered already sold out. So the red berries chart, I do plan to bring more in, but it won't be coming in August, because I also have to keep in mind that I need the floss to go with all of these charts, and the dyer of that floss, Carrie, is just about to take a very well-deserved vacation. So Carrie is going to be, she's going to be taking a little break, and so we have a lot of floss here going on into different projects. The mystery sampler for Sampler September, we are working really hard on getting all of those puzzle pieces together, ready to ship out the door to everyone who has placed those orders. A side note about that, I'm just going to interject this right now while I'm talking about the Sampler September. Many of you will know that I sold out of the linen for those kits quite quickly. I think I'm going to have some extra 28 count linen. I can't promise it until I have cut up all of the linen that was dyed. Carrie provides me with the dyed product. That goes for floss and fabric, and then we card it, the floss and the fabric, we cut it and serge it. So there's a lot of work that has to happen before I know for sure how much I'm going to have that is perfect and available to sell. So there were some people who purchased the Sampler September kit without linen because it was sold out. There were some of you who bought it because you didn't want the linen, because you wanted to choose your own linen for when you stitch this design. But if you purchase the kit with no linen because it was sold out, I'm going to offer any extras first to those people. So if you ordered a kit with no linen, you will probably be getting an email from me in the next couple of weeks once we have cut through all of the linen that we've got and counted out exactly how many pieces we have and how many are left over. So there might be a few pieces, a few happy people who really wanted the linen and weren't able to get it in the first go round. So more on that later. So yes, so the pre-orders sell quite quickly. So what I did was I ordered in a pretty huge number of charts for Ruskin's penguins because, well, it's disappointing, I know, when I talk about these things and they sell out so fast, and there's so many stitchers who can't watch this video right now and maybe won't catch it until this weekend. And by this weekend, by that time that rolls around, you know, everything is long gone. So I ordered in a lot, and I am doing it as a pre-order again, mainly because that money helps me pay for all of these things that I have to then to bring in. And I have floss on order from Carrie, but I might not receive that floss until, you know, early August. So that's why it is a pre-order. I'm pretty upfront about how things are coming along with any pre-orders that are out there that you've paid for and you haven't received yet. If you ever have any questions at all, you are, you know, welcome. Please email me, caroline@evertote.com. Do my best to answer in a timely fashion. And so this the Ruskin's penguins, if you order a physical chart and floss, I have some floss that I can send out fairly soon once the charts arrive, but then once I run out of floss, I will have to wait until early August to get more from Carrie. I will not be able to combine shipping. If you did a pre-order for the red berries and you want to do a pre-order for the Ruskin's penguins, I can't combine the shipping costs for those because I've only charged the letter rate for both. And if I incorporate those two orders together, it will cost a fair bit more for me to ship it than just the letter rate. If you've bought a bag, I can tuck this into a bag order. And I would, at that point, if you email me and let me know that you have 2 orders in the system and one of them is a bag, I should be able to combine the shipping on those. What we do generally is if we know we're combining an order and the person has paid quite a bit of excessive postage, we refund the extra postage at the time of us purchasing the postage so that we know, and then we can usually offer a little refund there. Doesn't always happen. Gosh, postage is expensive, and when you factor in all of the supplies needed for said postage, it adds up quickly. So I recognize that I've offered 2 pre-orders of charts and floss within a fairly short time of each other, and I wish I could combine the shipping on those 2, but I can't afford to do so because it will just, I can't do it for the cost of the 1 pre-order shipping. I think that's it. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Things have been a little extra busy the last couple of weeks because Hannah, my very, very trusty sidekick Hannah, who does a lot of the admin around here now, Hannah has been at voice camp for the last couple of weeks. Now, I'm being a bit silly calling it voice camp because, trust me, it's much more prestigious than that. Hannah is a coloratura soprano singer, classically trained, and has her master's in vocal performance, and she is an amazing singer. And so she has been participating in an opera workshop for the last it's a 3-week opera workshop, and she's just in the middle of her 2nd week. And she has been coming in last Saturday and this coming Saturday to do all of the packaging for Evertote. And Sarah, my daughter, has been coming in. Sarah is back at her other job now, so she's been kind of trying to help me out here and there by coming in to do some packaging for me as well. But it has meant that certain things like answering emails or you know, comments and questions on the videos or things like that, I'm starting to get a little bit behind. So I am really, really looking forward to Hannah coming back because she very quickly became a big, big part of helping run everything behind the scenes at Evertote. So I miss her. I miss her a lot. All right, so I think that's it for me today. Ruskin's Penguins is in the shop. Pre-order for the physical chart and floss, and purchase now until I'm out of stock for the set of 5. And that's it. Okay, so I'm going to quickly down the rest of my coffee. I have another mountain of sewing to do today. So we're starting to get ready for Halloween, as well as finishing up some July bags and a couple of drawstrings that need to go out the door in a couple of days. So thank you. Thanks for visiting with me today, everybody. I hope that you're well. I hope that you're safe and that you have some stitching, some crafting to bring you a few minutes of joy this evening. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, I'll try to pop in on Friday. It's such a good excuse to sit and, you know, have a crafty chat. Love it. All right, until then, until I see you again, have a great day, everybody. Happy stitching. Take care.